Let me ask you a question. Who hasn't had a platonic crush before? Usually, it happens early in adolescence when we lack maturity and are just starting to learn and discover the incredible things in life. Love just shows up out of nowhere and turns our world upside down, just like that. It's almost like, now you love this person, but for some reason, you two will never be together, and that's something we'll have to cope with throughout life. And don't think it's a joke. Some studies compare the difficulty of overcoming a platonic crush to the difficulty of breaking an addiction, since the brain's pathway for doing so is quite similar. At first, it's all about that dopamine rush, the happiness of being in love, and the little advances that make the relationship feel closer in your mind. But as you and I both know, it can end in sadness. And even though it's a powerful feeling, it passes, and you can move on. So, a platonic crush is that impossible, improbable, or unrequited love, where a romantic relationship never comes to fruition for various reasons. For example, in a friendship between two people, where one of them desires a different kind of relationship, but the other only wants to stay friends. A relationship in cartoons that perfectly illustrates everything I've talked about so far, and that I'm going to analyze here, is the relationship between Finn and Princess Bubblegum. She was Finn's first platonic crush when he was just entering adolescence. To be honest, I think he just wanted a romance with a pretty girl. There were several other princesses interested in him, but Bubblegum was the prettiest one he knew, so much so that he practically forgot about her 3 seconds after meeting Flame Princess. Finn didn't love Bonnie. At that point in his life, I don't even think he knew what love really meant. But somehow, this crush ended up consuming him entirely. Finn spent a good part of the show chasing after Princess Bubblegum, often misinterpreting her kindness and doing everything he could to get noticed and start a romantic relationship with her. But since she didn't feel the same way, he experienced the pain of rejection several times, which left him confused about everything, given how complex the situation was. He also suffered a lot because he couldn't understand what was missing or why he wasn't loved back by the girl he saw as perfect for him. This is especially clear in the song All Gummed Up Inside, where he sings about bubblegum and how he felt, expressing his overwhelming feelings. It's evident that this crush resulted in an enormous sense of emptiness, sadness, and confusion for him. At times, it was almost bizarre, like when he kept a lock of her hair, which is honestly a bit strange. Meanwhile, Bonnie was literally ruling an entire kingdom, dealing with citizens, complex decisions, problems, and constant concerns. The level of responsibility she needed to keep everything running was surreal, leaving her no time for romance. Even if she had time, it was shown that, at that point in her life, she wasn't interested in love. This is clear in the episode where Peppermint Butler tries to push her toward choosing a suitor, and she outright avoids it completely. This might even stem from traumas, repressed feelings, and unresolved issues lingering from her past relationship with Marceline. This made Bubblegum see love as something not worth her time. At that moment, what mattered most to her was the Candy Kingdom, and her focus was on science. But let's be honest, even if she didn't have all those responsibilities and was open to love, there still couldn't be anything romantic between her and Finn. First, it would be at least a bit strange due to the age difference, as Finn was still a kid and Bubblegum was around 800 years old. Secondly, they simply weren't compatible. You can compare their maturity, thoughts, and views on the world and everything around them. Think about everything Bubblegum had lived through compared to Finn, including the absurd amount of trauma she'd accumulated and carried throughout the series, which we only come to understand later in specific episodes. There was no way 12-year-old Finn could handle those traumas. They were just incompatible, and it would have been wrong for them to have anything romantic at that time. When you go back and rewatch the episodes where Finn tries to get closer to her, it's clear that Bubblegum never had romantic interest in him as an adult. She essentially saw Finn as a cute kid, and it's evident that the love she had for him was similar to what an older sister might feel for a younger brother, wanting to protect him out of an almost maternal kind of love. The only time Bonnie actually shows a romantic interest in him is when she turns back into a kid, after nearly dying because of the Lich. We see a relationship between Finn and Bubblegum that actually had a chance of working. Now things were much more compatible since Bubblegum didn't have the weight of responsibility on her shoulders anymore, and had reverted to a stage in life where love was still a priority. With them being at a similar maturity level, they had a lot of fun together, messing around with Lemongrab, and they even shared a little kid. kiss. But as soon as Bubblegum returned to adulthood, all of that vanished instantly. In the episode where Bubblegum supposedly gets jealous of Finn dating Flame Princess, it was actually just a huge misunderstanding due to Jake's misinterpretation from not paying attention. Bubblegum tried to explain in a really complicated way why Finn and Flame Princess dating was a problem, but it was still a huge issue since Flame Princess's emotional stability could put everything at risk. When Bubblegum tries to explain to Finn that even if you really like someone, responsibility still demands a lot of sacrifice, I think she's speaking from personal experience. She had to sacrifice her own past relationship because of her responsibilities to the Candy Kingdom. This conversation was more personal for Bonnie than it was about Finn, but with Finn in the wrong context and the way she expressed herself, it's easy to see why he got so furious. It really came off strangely if you see it from Finn's perspective. In the end, when Bubblegum sees Finn kissing Flame Princess, or really, the stone with her face on it, she seems a bit sad. But in my opinion, it wasn't because she was jealous. It was more out of concern and maybe pity. Finn was in a stage of discovery and learning, confused and lacking maturity, which led to an unhealthy platonic crush on the prettiest girl he knew. This left him feeling extremely empty, suffering constantly from not being loved back. But this eventually passes. By the 5th season, in the episode where they go to the Lemon Grab Kingdom for dinner, Finn finally realizes and accepts that a relationship with Bubblegum isn't possible. He tells Jake that he learned age isn't just a number, and that older people really do think differently and are less cool inside. What matters is that Finn comes to understand this and grows a little in that moment. After this, he still makes some big mistakes throughout the show, but in terms of his relationship with Bonnie, overcoming this crush improved their dynamic. Although their relationship was already good, it sometimes felt a bit sad and strange because of this unrequited love. Once he moves past that, they learn more from each other, support each other more, and share incredible moments together as friends, making their relationship fantastic. As they both continue to grow, mature, and understand themselves throughout the show, their friendship only grows stronger. The idea of a romance would ruin that.